The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and
He missed the complete that. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard. Hello everyone and welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, more affectionately known as Mosport, for the fourth week of iRacing's IMSA Sportscar Championship, and you're going to get to see all of the action from the top split unfold live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Samuel Ryman, and with me in the booth tonight is Sean Ambrose covering the Daytona Prototype and GT3 classes, and also we have Justin Prince who will be bringing us all the action, and there'll be lots of it in the GTE class. Behind the scenes doing all the button pushing is our director, I'm Jed Yarman, and he's using camera sets provided by, as always, our very own Dougie Beard. Justin, for drivers that like their nice long straights, this has been a bit of a frustrating doubleheader for them, as fresh off the twists and the turns at Sonoma, we head north to Canada to find kind of more of the same.
Yes, indeed, as we come from wine country to Bowmanville, Ontario, for this 2.59 mile 10-turn circuit. Now, of course, this is the home of both NASCAR and IMSA Series races throughout the year, and has also at one point been the host of even a Formula One Grand Prix. Now, this is a 45-minute race once again, but like Sonoma, it is another very tight course with weaving corners, and it's very challenging to say the least. Will drivers do well here, or will they have to spend some time in the Bridgestone Racing Academy here at Mosport? We'll have to see, as it's going to be a nice, beautiful race overall. Let's go to your GSRC lap guide.
Alright, we've got Kevin Brown in the GSRC Z4, so let's do a lap around Mosport. The front stretch here is relatively short compared to most pit straights, and right away you dive into a pretty fast downhill right-hander. The main worry is not to let the car drift wide, because the grass to the left can easily send the car spinning into the inside wall. Immediately after that, you're thrown into the scary Turn 2. A super blind crest with only slippery grass between you and a punishingly close barrier makes it critical to get this one right. Next, drift the car to the left of the track for Turn 3. It's an early apex and then the corner opens up on the exit. The normal line will take you over to the right side, and you're going to plunge way downhill through turn 4. Only a slight lift to help keep the car to the left and set you up for Moss Corner. With the track raising back up, you can brake super late and still get the car to turn in, which means passes here are flying on a wing and a prayer. But you've got 2 apexes, and the second one is easily the most important. The sooner you get on the power and the less you clobber the curb, the better, because every inch of traction counts since it leads onto the Andretti Straight. This is basically the long climb back up to the top of the hill we just plunged down. This is where you see most passes set up, since it's the longest flat-out portion of the circuit. But as if it weren't hard enough to pass elsewhere, it doesn't end in a heavy braking zone. Instead, we enter the S's, and it's possible to go too wide and defend from the outside. If you can hold on into turn 9, the left-hander, you'll switch to the inside. Then finally, you'll sling it through turn 10 and return to the start-finish line where you finished a lap around Mosport.
So that is a lap around this. No, Phil, we're already beating the dead horse here by saying this was a very twisty circuit up in Canada. So that's enough about the track. Let's have a talk about the drivers, particularly the ones who are up at the top of the point standings after the opening 3 rounds. Sean, why don't we take a look at the points?
Good time to do it, Sam. Just 5.5 minutes left to qualifying. Gabriel Roos sitting at the top of the prototype. Daytona prototype standings right now. David Weiss there in second. Blake Haswell just 5 points behind there in third. Now it goes a little bit further back to Sam Fitzpatrick there in fourth, and Carlo Labate only 5 points behind him. So things still pretty snug here at the top. Now let's look at the GTE standings. Reynaldo Lorena, 86 points. Now he has been pretty dominant, and Elliott Biddle 30 points back already there in second. Benjamin Perez hot on his tail, followed very closely by Brian Sutton and Zachary Hanlon there in fifth. That is a very, very tight battle for second. They got a lot of work to do to catch first. The GT3s, Dexter Castro in command still. CM Skinner has been good, been really good. Only 3 points behind. Cameron Berry, 11 points back. Yavi Utreres, fourth. And Mirko Tuatonic there in fifth, 41 points back. He obviously could stand to get a win here this evening.
But of those 3 points leaders, the only one I'm currently seeing in the session is Gabriel Roos, and he's not one of the higher numbered drivers tonight. He's actually in the number 19 car out there in what I believe is a 28 car field, so we'll have to wait and see how he does. Now once again, this is an official series race. Anyone can race in this on iRacing, although granted if you're new to iRacing you'll be in the bottom split, so you won't be in this race. But that means these drivers don't know who they're racing against until they get to this point in time. Now of course they'll get official iRacing points as far as the iRacing official series is concerned, but what we're focusing on and what we just showed you are the points they're getting for this particular championship, which is scored in the top split of each IMSA race this 12-week season at 8:45 p.m. on Friday night here on the Global SimRacing channel, and that's being presented and made possible by the guys at HPP Simulation. So we'd like to thank Mark Hargett and all those guys for putting this on and giving us a championship to watch out for here tonight. And now that we're all getting settled and we're taking a look at these drivers out here on the track, Justin, which drivers do you think we're going to need to keep an eye on?
Well, personally, I think you need to keep an eye on guys like Tim Birdie and Brian Sutton on the GTE class, for example, because they both
seem to be having a couple of minor technical issues with Justin's microphone. Wait and see if he's coming back here.
All right, well, Sam, while we're giving him a second, I can tell you, looking at the GT3 class, Rens Brankman's here, and boy, that's going to be tough competition for Yavi Utreres, who obviously fighting for that title there in the GT3. Dexter Castro not there. CM Skinner with a good chance to make up points, but again, Rens Brankman's there, and boy, he's pretty good. We're going to see, though, like I said, Yavi Utreres already pretty fast here in qualifying. He's got a good chance, too.
Alright, Justin, can you give us a GTE rundown now?
Yes, I apologize about that for the technical difficulty for the second there, but as I was trying to say, drivers like Tim Birdie are someone to watch, for example, along with second place points runner Elliott Biddle. I think you also have to watch Brian Sutton. He's coming off a win at a similar track like Sonoma, so all three of those people I think are your main contenders, but of course this is a pretty good field here of GTEs for today's race. I think it is about 15 cars here. It's in some fast times. For example, in qualifying, Patrick Holtzman reached the 112s.
Yeah, and we're already getting comments about that in the chat. Brian Sutton, who was qualified 6th in the GTE class, saying 12.9. Really? I guess that's his remark to the number 1 car, Patrick Holtzman. Number 1, of course, meaning Patrick has a higher I rating, a higher, basically, rating given by the game than the rest of the competitors in this race. So we're going to keep an eye on him tonight because we expect he'll have a good day in that GTE class. Now you see the clock in the top left corner of your screen counting down the final seconds of qualifying. Every driver has had the track to themselves for the last 8 minutes with which to put on 2 laps and try and turn their best qualifying time, Sean.
Yeah, and they're doing that on a track right now that is 105 degrees on track. It's a clear day, 77 degrees, Sam. A little bit of wind out there, not much, but boy, finding grip definitely going to be something to watch here in the early stages of this race, because 105 degrees is just shy of blistering out there for these sports cars.
For these Canadians too. Justin, not used to that, huh?
Yep. But yeah, you definitely have to find the grip here. Like you've seen Tyson Meyer was in the tire wall for a second. That's how much you have to consider the grip here. One wrong turn, one wrong brake, you'll end up going flying into a wall.
Alright, and good news, qualifying is completed. The cars are getting gridded up by the start-finish line. They'll do one pace lap around here and then they'll go racing. So let's run down the grid order for you, beginning with the Corvette DP cars being led by the number 9 of Luis Paulo Gallen, ahead of Carlo Labate, they're on the front row. And then we have Michael Evdoka there and Sam Fitzpatrick on row 2, ahead of Corey McClemore. Now we have 2 more prototypes, but they're far down the order. They didn't turn the time in qualifying, and those are Blake Neck and our points leader Gabriel Roos. Over to you, Justin, for the GTE field.
Yes, Patrick Holtzman with that 112.966 was a very fast time, above the expected 1 minute 13 second lap times. We'll see. He'll start off the pole for them. Tim Birdie will be in second for the GTEs in row number 4 on the grid. Elliott Biddle and Jonathan Bruno will be following them, followed by Marino Reyes and Brian Sutton. Miguel Vigo and Clark Archer follow him, with Benjamin Perez starting alongside James Obener. Michael Tater, starting alongside Jose Ramon Barola, and Tyson Meyer, who went into the tire wall, will be starting off right alongside Mike Burdett. Dean Mull did not record a time. Sean, your GT3s?
Yes, sir, and the smallest class on track today actually is the GT3, only 6 cars. It's going to be Rens Brinkman, though, and he'll be starting first in class. Nestoras Kiasogolu. I'm going to go with that. Nestoras. All right, he's starting second. Yavi Jers will start third. CM Skinner, fourth. James Evans. Good times, baby. He's starting fifth. Mirko Twatonic will start sixth.
Yes, the 6 cars in that GT3 class, and let's emphasise the fact that since we don't know which drivers are going to be in the race until the serve opens, don't really have a lot of time to get their names down, particularly the tongue twister ones. Now, those drivers we mentioned, Blake Neck and Gabriel Roos in the DP division and Dean Mole in the GTE division, they still get to start with their classes. They're not sent to the back for not turning in the time, and that of course will help these starts be a bit cleaner. The problem is though, Justin, the starts at a track like this can be quite hectic when the drivers are going to be the leaders are going to be coming out of a final turn on the loud pedal. Well, the guys at the back, even just 2 or 3 rows back, are still going through the final turn.
Yeah, that's going to be a major challenge because you'll have drivers coming out of White's corner into that front straightaway and into one. That's going to be very hectic. You're going to have to jump on the gas, jump on the brake, and hope for the best. That could lead to a big situation in all the classes, really. So it's all about patience. It's a 45-minute race. You do not want to push it early, especially here at a track like this into turn one. And especially if you're in the DPs, and big time even more if you're in the GTEs right now.
Talking about patience, you don't want your cars to be patients at a doctor's office here at the end of the day, because these cars cannot afford a crash, Sean. The lead cars that stay out of trouble, well, they will not be making a pit stop at all today. And also, there is no fast repair.
Sam, there is no pit stop in our strategy this evening. We don't need fuel. We better not need tires. You better take care of them. Find a way to save enough of them for the last minute dash there at the end. But no, sir. It's go, go, go. And if you take any damage, boy, it's going to be really, really tough to compete. You know, the prototypes are so wicked fast around here. You cannot get caught out behind. You will get caught quickly. This is not an incredibly large circuit, just under 2.5 miles. Traffic will probably be a constant throughout most of these 45 minutes.
Yep, and here we are, about to see them start. Now the black car pulling in front, that's Carlo, the car that should have control of the field and is already on the loud pedal as Luis Paulo Gallen, he leads the field away for the first of 45 minutes here at Mosport. The prototype field already single file, which is great because in turn 2, things can get a little rough, Justin.
Yes, and the GTEs are coming out of the final corner and heading into that first turn as Patrick Holtzman leads them. All of them already filing into single file as well. So a clean start for them. Everyone taking it patiently. Sean?
And the GT3 started in turn 8, and they are already up to speed. Line astern, out of 1, down into Clayton. Gonna make their way to Quebec. It's already starting to spread out just a bit. Reds Brakeman in control. Yavi Contreras got a great start and got past Nestoris Kiosaglo very quickly.
Great to see all these drivers being patient on the opening lap, because this circuit is not forgiving, especially when you get a couple of wheels on the green stuff, you'll go right into the wall. The circuit is also not that long. Luis Paulo Gallen already coming around the last couple of turns to complete lap number 1, and you can see the gap he has already built over Carlo Labate in second.
Yeah, and we're looking at those Daytona prototypes you mentioned there. They are just blazing right now. You can see, of course, they are the fastest of the classes.
I'm sorry, Justin. A couple of GTEs together at the back of the field. Yeah, I think, is that Dean
Yeah,
Mall?
Mike Burdett. It was Mike Burdett and Dean Mall there.
Yeah, you can see Dean Mole did not record a qualifying time. He just went around loose. That was what I was talking about, where if you hit the brake even too hard slightly, even at a baseline setup, you're going to go around like that. Exactly like that right now. Bad luck for there. Mike Burdett, of course, losing a ton of time as well. Patrick Holtzman and Tim Birdie, meanwhile, setting the pace up front, as you're seeing, as they head into that very tight turn.
And that's why I always like to qualify, Justin, because otherwise you have an 8-minute break where you're kind of relaxing ahead of a race, and sure, you get to grid up with the pack, but you might be a little out of practice again. Just that 8-minute rest could cause you to make a mistake like that.
Exactly. Some people I know, like especially on the NASCAR side, for example, live by that philosophy, and a lot of times, if something happens in front of you, good luck. That is what exactly happened there, I think. Plus, I think it was a little of an experience with this very tight course, but it's just been a clean run so far. Other than that, I think.
Fortunately, lap 2 looks to have been clean for the rest of the field. Sean, how are things going back there in GT3 in the early stages?
Sam, they're looking pretty good, but I want to make an admission here real quick. You know, we talked about fuel not being part of the strategy today. Boy, I guess I was a little off on my calculations. kind of forget we're restricted on fuel here in the official race here in these 45-minute races. That last 75-minute one got me off kilter here. So yes, everybody's going to have to pit, which now that being said, everybody's off to a great start. That's a good thing, but what's your strategy here? What are you going to do? It's probably going to be fuel only here with a 45-minute race. I doubt very, very seriously any of these cars will be looking at tires here.
Honestly, when I heard you say that, I was thinking the exact same thing, the possibility of that. It would be very tight to squeeze that for all these classes, but I think the GTEs, I think, for example, is the lap window, I should say, is 35 to 38, I believe. If you go Daytona prototypes, I think it's a little bit earlier than that, and then you have the GT3s.
Okay, got a great battle here in the GT3s. Second place is now being contested. Nestoras Kiosoglo is there, and Yavi Utreras is really trying to defend it right now, making that car, that Merc, just a little bit wider. Being chased really hard by Nestoras, though. He spent about 2 laps behind him now, kind of trying to work this out.
Of course, the fact that we do have pit stops will open up strategy. If you do feel that you're being held up by the car in front, you can always try and use the undercut to get by them.
And Rens Brinkman, though, still in command. Got a good, healthy 1 second lead on Yavi, getting through Moss. Very, very challenging complex of turns right there, guys.
Talk about challenging. Sometimes in racing you'll hear the phrase horses for courses. Well, sometimes there are horses that don't like courses. And I guess that's what we're seeing out of our prototype points leader, Gabriel Roos, today in the number 19 machine. There's only 7 cars in the DP class, and he is back in 7th. Remember, he didn't qualify, and he's already, I'd say, about a second or 2 back of the car in 6th. So I guess this isn't Roos's circuit.
Yeah, maybe not. You know, sometimes guys have trouble finding a rhythm at certain circuits, Sam, and this circuit is one that, let's say, has a lot of flow, requires some rhythm, and maybe it's just not his day, not his track, you know?
Yeah, because this is a rhythm track where if you have something break your rhythm, like, for example, a car in front of you popping out of the wall, for example, that's a hypothetical, you'll end up having your rhythm broken up. I think it's just setting the rhythm, setting the pace, and being patient. I think that's partially might be what he's doing, and partially waiting to see what happens in front of him.
Sam, Gallon up there is still, though, just by far the fastest car on the track right now. He's just blazing a trail there in that vet.
Oh, absolutely. The only thing that could really stop him is if he's burning his tyres off by doing this. We'll have to wait and see how that story unfolds as the race goes on. And big wiggle out of the car in 6th, meanwhile, by Corey McLemore. And that allows Gabriel Roos to run them down for position. So maybe we'll see a pass there for 6th in the DP class in the not too distant future. In fact, we could see it right now. Even though they're going down the long back straight here, it's not exactly straight, but Roos still has enough space. And you see there that McLemore kind of let him by. You saw him coming, and Roos is up into 6th. Going to the GTE field with Justin here, Clark Archer, and Benjamin Perez.
Yes, right now we're taking a look at this. There's a lot of close battles right now, especially, as you mentioned, around the middle of this field right now for the GTEs. As you're seeing them going through the S's, too wide, meanwhile, a couple spots back. For example, is Ramon Barella, as well as Tyson Meyer for the past couple of laps. Like we mentioned, this is a rhythm track, and a lot of drivers are trying to set that rhythm up early. Taking a look at that battle right now, you can see them going into turn 1 pretty well here. And you can see them kicking up some dirt. As long as it doesn't get a 1X or an off-track incident, they're fine. But Jonathan and Bruno just went off the track a little bit and slowed up.
Okay, guys, Yavi Utreras is struggling big time. Sorry about that. We just lost his spot there. as one of the GTEs get through Dean Mall now in the middle of that. But Nestoras Kiosoglu takes second and is able to pull away now just a little bit with a little bit of help.
Nice job on the pronunciation that time, Sean.
Yeah, it's actually not bad. I actually kind of figured it out there after thinking it through a couple times.
Well, the problem is these guys are now going to have to start to deal with the DP Corvettes coming around to put a lap on them. Luis Paulo Gallen putting on such a rapid pace, he's already put 2 GT3 cars a lap down.
Yeah, got by James Evans and Mirko Dwatonic there, who Dwatonic just doesn't seem to be able to get into a rhythm here so far. But yeah, it's going to be CM Skinner next.
Now, I'm not sure if it's appearing like this on our broadcast screen, but when we get a real close-up view on the front of these DP machines, they're all a bit bent up already, and I think that's just from clipping the curves around here, as meanwhile the driver in third place, Michael Avdoka, is side by side with Sam Fitzpatrick. They made contact for third place, are still side by side, coming through the final turn. Drag racing down to turn 1. Fitzpatrick is on the outside, but he's trying to make this work. Avdoka got bulked in the lap traffic, but now he's going to be able to use it to his advantage. Fitzpatrick has to hold off Blake Neck. Now, don't put your wheels in the grass on the right there. There will be no saving the car, but all of the drivers get through in the single file.
Man, Fitzy out there burning it down, Sam.
You know who else is burning it down right now? As we look at that close battle, the GTE's Patrick Holtzman is setting a pace that is just absolutely unbelievable. When you look at it right now, you can see right now he is in his world of his own fastest lap time. It's currently not, it's pretty close lap time wise, but he has still been pulling away. He's at least 2 seconds, I believe, give or take, in front of Tim Birdie. 3 seconds, pardon me.
Oh, spinning it for the Gallen here. Dean Mall gets off course, getting to the last turn there in White's corner.
That's
Get that on the replay.
Yeah, that's his second incident of a race. He takes a tow to the pits where he joins Michael Tada. Tada is also in the pits as we see a replay of what happened to Mole there, because he had a spin just a few moments ago, and so he has come down pit road to the attention of his mechanics to get some repairs on that Ford GT. But as we mentioned, this is such a quick race that if you do get a damage in these cars, you're not going to walk away with a great finish.
Now, speaking of damage, you know, I'm watching our overall leader, Luis Gallon. Sam, that car's got significant front-end damage on it. I don't remember how or where he picked that up, but the nose is looking not too good, or the right rear.
I think it's just the curbs, Sean. Because, like I say, I was seeing the same thing, and yeah, we can see it on the broadcast there. I think it's just where they clip the curbs, or maybe the cars are bottoming out down this long back straight. You see, it's definitely not flat, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him any. I would say he's still putting on the fastest laps of a race, but now I'm looking at the fall-off of the lap times. Every drive on track is about a second slower than what they were at the start of a race. I wonder how much of that, though, is due to traffic.
Well, traffic definitely a factor right now. Go ahead, Justin.
That was exactly what I was going to say. It's a factor, of course, with these different classes, the different speeds. So you're going to have to figure out ways to work through them while maintaining your positions. You can see Sam Fitzpatrick right now, for example, and Michael Avdoka. They're trying to go on a run. Meanwhile, some GT3s are going to be right up the road a little bit from them pretty soon. So they got to figure out ways to navigate through the cars quick and fast, especially at a track like this where it's very, very, very tight.
Yeah, and that's actually not any GT3 in front of him. That's Rens Brakeman, the leader in the GT3 class, and he's having quite a drive himself, and he's going to keep racing, so they are going to have to it's going to be work. They're going to have to find that opportunity to get around and have to pull it off clean, or it's going to end in tears. Coming up on Brakeman now.
The battle for third, meanwhile, in DP is heating up again with Michael Avdoka. Once again trying to hold off Sam Fitzpatrick, who tries to go around the outside. He's got the inside here for the penultimate corner. Pulls off a move. A new drive in third overall. It's Sam Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, Sam Fitzpatrick having a good run, as you're seeing right now in those DPs, that's for sure. Whereas his pace going along very well, and he does have one of the fastest times right now, I believe, too, as you're seeing him increasingly getting faster and faster, trying to get to Labonte's back door 4 seconds up the road.
Well, we're watching P2 and P3 in GTE here, but I'm also watching the battle for 4th. Jonathan Brolt has really been holding up a train. Marino Reyes Justin finally gets by him, but just look how many cars are stacked up behind.
Yeah, since Brunel went off the track a little bit and lost speed, it has been that kind of situation where they've been together. It's been about a 6-car battle now. You can see Reyes is the first of the grouping to get by there. You can see right now everyone's trying to stay single file for the moment and wait for their chances to get into the passing zones, because of course you don't want to be in double file in the corners they are in right now. If you go double file through these tight first and second and third corners, I think you are saying good luck, basically. I wouldn't be surprised though if he falls back even more, Bruno, right now, because you can see, pardon me, as he is just struggling, it seems, out of the corners a little bit speed-wise compared to his competitors. Yeah, just look at that. Reyes just starting to get a better launch out of there. So I think right now everyone's seeing what Reyes is doing, I have to get around him now or in the next couple of laps.
I'm sorry. Keep going, Jesse. Keep going, buddy.
I was just finishing up there, actually, as it's getting very tight, as you're seeing right now. Cars going and kicking up dirt out of the final corner, but it is a very tight battle. That's what I'm trying to say.
And these are all Ferraris. You're watching the Ferrari train go around the hills of Canada right now, whereas it looks like our second place prototype car, DP Carlo Labonte, has come in. This is our first scheduled pit stop. Or is it? Because there's significant damage to the nose of his car. I'm going to try and go back and see where he picked that up.
Sam, I think I might have found it.
He just grounded out. He grounded out on my screen. It looked like it just happened where he bottomed out, entering Moss.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what I'm seeing too. And I think maybe that car was dragging or not handling well or something. He decided to bring it in.
And look at this, Evdoka has gotten back by Fitzpatrick. So, Evdoka has gone from dropping back to 4th recently to now being up in 2nd with Labonte having pitted, but now he's about to lose that and go back to 3rd behind Fitzpatrick. Nice move.
Yeah, meanwhile, let's take a look at that battle for 3rd right now for those GTEs, because it has just been a very good race overall for these two, Tim Birdie and Elliott Biddle. Biddle coming off a nightmare of an event last week at Sonoma, and he is improving much more here today, keeping up with Biddle, going through the very tight turn in the Moss corner and coming out down that Andretti straightaway. Right now you're seeing, though, the draft, I think, might be able to help Biddle big time, because he's right behind Bernie, single file, trying to claw him in, reel him in. I think the 5th gear is better right now for Bernie than Biddle, based on what we're seeing right now.
All right, let's look at the GT3s real quick, Sam. You know, Renz Brakeman actually still having a great drive. Good little battle actually going on at the back of the GT3 field. It's Mirko Dotonic and James Evans. Now, they've let the rest of the field get a little bit away from him, but that has not stopped these two from being pretty persistent. James been hot on his tail, and Mirko, you know, like I said earlier, was having a little bit of trouble kind of reeling this track in. He's still struggling just a bit, but he's done a really good job. Both of them have, as the traffic has come through. Both of those cars still clean and getting through Moss. Always a challenge, especially when you've got one of those GTE machines behind you trying to get through there at the same time. Patrick Holtzman going to come around here. And that Ford runs off of the grass just a little bit. Holtzman having a little bit of trouble with it.
Yeah, Holtzman has been setting the pace, and he's making it very tight for those GT3s right now. Goes by with very little incident other than touching the grass a bit, but Holtzman had a bit of a scare now. Meanwhile, Gallen, the leader for the DPs, is now going through a crowd of GTEs right now. You can see a pack of 3 of them he's trying to navigate through. Barola Mayer as well as James Ohlenbrenner. As you can see, one of the GTEs is coming in though, and that is Tyson Mayer coming in.
Smart move when there's so much traffic going on. Meanwhile, give you an update on that battle further up the GTE order. It looks like Brian Sutton has gotten by Jonathan Brolt, but he's not running away from him.
Yeah, not yet at least, because Sutton, of course, our winner from last week at Sonoma, running very well, but I think right now, of course, he just got by, but I think coming out of Moss is going to show the speed difference, really. You can see the jump compared to Brolt coming out. You can see he's just getting onto the gas better and getting better acceleration from what we're seeing right now, even with Brolt with the draft. So I think it's just a matter of patience. Yes, he still has a long way to go, of course, and it looks like we got another pit stop.
Yep, Mirko Dwatonic making the call. He's going to be the first of the GT3 class to come on in. I'd say we're well into that window right now, Sam. We've got about 20, just under 25 minutes left. I think you're good. I know you're good to come in for that pit stop now. So we'll probably see a lot of cars start. That's going to get to be a very busy place here quick.
Mike Burdett comes in the Ferrari.
Yes, I think right now he was near the back of the pack for the GTEs, really, trying to hang on basically to Barola and Ohlenbrenner. I think right now some of these drivers are thinking, may as well get this over with now strategy-wise, while others I think are going to wait until the last second if you're up front.
And our race leader, Luis Paulo Gallen, has caught this GTE train that we've been keeping our eye on, currently being led by Brian Sutton, but Jonathan Brolt has ran him back down again. And I almost wonder if we're going to see our leader, Gallen, come into the pits very soon, because otherwise he's got to find a way by these 4 GTE cars in front of him. Let's see if he does it this lap. So comes through the final couple of turns here. No, he stays out. Things are about to get a bit busy for him because here comes Brolt looking down the inside of Sutton. Not going to happen in turn 1.
Yeah, that's a very challenging corner to try and make a pass, and you can see he thought about it there for a second. That's actually going to lose him some speed trying to reconsider that there, but it looks like he got a better exit than Sutton this time. And he's just going to wait there, be patient, but man, Sutton almost lost the position there with the way he exited that corner. He got a slower exit off than Brolt. We'll have to see what they do in Moss.
Michael Evdoka, remember we saw him battling for second there with Sam Fitzpatrick in prototype, pitted this lap. I have a feeling this is going to pay dividends for him. Now he'll drop back to third, remember, or third and fourth in class, because Carlo Labate pitted from second early in prototype. He's gone by.
Yeah, and you can see now, Brolt did have some momentum going on Sutton, and then Gallen comes in and breaks the momentum, sadly for him. But I think it's just a matter of getting some patience now, especially since there's a GT3 now holding up Sutton. I think Gallen right now is thinking, I got to get out of here fast, and you can see he's just waiting for it to go for the opening and not wanting to force things.
And Corey McClemore, one of the DP drivers, just had an off in turn 2. Somehow didn't hit the wall. Very rare that you see that. Sean?
Just going to give you an update here in the GT3s. Just had CM Skinner complete his pit stop. And he is now making his way back out on track. Skinner in that Merc, having a pretty good drive. He came in from third place. He gets it back out there, and again, that was a real efficient, tidy stop for him. Here comes Blake Neck making his way off the pit lane, and there's Gabriel Ruse getting his service in.
Yeah, Blake Neck comes out ahead of Carlo Labate. Kudos to him. They've both made a stop. Let's not forget Labate was running in second earlier on. Meanwhile, I took a look at Luis Paulo Gallen's lap last time around when he was held up by all those GT cars. He ran a 1:13. That is not very fast for these prototypes, and I wonder, as they go by Mirko Dwartenek, who is off there in his Mercedes, I wonder how close Blake Neck is going to be to Luis Paulo Gallen once Gallen is forced to come in for his stop.
Well, that was a tough break for Mirko Dwartenek there. Comes back out on track in front of Michael Ivotka. It was close. Scary moment. Code hashed out, Code Brown. But Mirko had just come off his pit stop here about 2.5 laps ago. And he's struggling to get that Mercedes back up to speed, guys.
Only one retirement so far from the race as Michael Tader. We reported how he got in the wall in his Ford GT earlier on in the race. He drove it into the pits but did not drive it back out. Rest of 27 cars in the top split still running. And a reminder, this top split is a very strong split. It's a top of 3. And just because a driver has a number 27 or 28 on the car does not mean they're a slouch at all, Justin.
Yeah, exactly, because this is probably one of the strongest fields, if not the strongest so far we've had for the HP Simulation Sports Car Challenge, because, of course, we had multiple splits coming in tonight, 3 overall, like you just said. That means you're having talent split up into 3 different groupings compared to some other races, and I believe a couple of them may include more than just splits for the GTEs this time. So, it's just been a great race overall. So, we're going to have to see how things turn out for a lot of our competitors, especially our front runners, as Gallen's going to have to deal with Birdie and Biddle next up.
Yeah, and we think Gallen will also have to deal with Blake Neck once he's made his pit stop. However, Blake Neck just disappeared from our screens for about 5 to 10 seconds, so maybe some internet connection issues for the driver of a number 10. He is from Australia, New Zealand area, and he is running a very high pin right now.
Okay, big update in the GT3s. Nestor Esquiosoglo is in. And James Edmonds followed him in, and Evans just got out. Evans in for a long stop. But boy, that was a quick one for Nestoris. He's pulling her out now. Evans under attack back there. Gotta be careful.
Actually, that is the GT3 car in Marino Reyes coming through there with that battle. But you can see he's got a fair amount of distance right now, you see, with the GT3 in that grouping as we go through Moss.
We're not too far down the road, coming out of Moss down the straight. Gallen was once again caught up in a bit of GT traffic. I just don't know how much I like the strategy of staying up and going through all that traffic.
Reds Brakeman's in, guys. That leaves Javi Utreras with a big decision to make here.
And Tim Bertie, one of our top GTE runners, is in, Justin.
Yes, the pit stops continuing as many cars trying to do strategy, many of them saying it's time to come in. Of course, the GTEs have a 50% fuel cycle or a fuel cap for this 45-minute race, as Birdie, of course, one of the first ones in for the front runners, as he's going to go out very quickly. A very quick stop for Birdie this time, just 8.2 seconds.
That's the way to do it.
Yep, there's nowhere better way to put it, really. So a good stop there. but you gotta figure out what's going to happen here. Patrick Holtzman is currently the only one who has not been passed by Gallon, who is making that move right now. How are you going to catch up to him, basically, ground-wise, even with the pit stop? Because he was pulling away from Biddle and Birdie by about 5, 6, 7 seconds for much of that run.
Our DP points leader, Gabriel Roos, is into the pits. However, I'm gonna go back and check this. It is not the first time. This is the second stop. This is not a good story for our points leader, Gabriel Roos.
No, Sam, not a good story at all. If you're down here for a second time, something has gone terribly wrong. Rue's going to get back out on track. The Scandinavian, something amiss this evening for him. He's going to get back at it, but just try and hope for the best points he can get now. I got to go to the GT3s real quick. Javi Utrera still out on track. He is now working on another lap. He's already completed one over Rens Brinkman. Honestly, he's taking advantage of some faster cars getting behind him, slipping right up into their draft. Still able to turn some really, really good laps in, but he needs to be careful here. He can't let Rens Brinkman get back on track and get back to work and start turning the fastest laps of the race here with only 15 minutes to go. He needs to have himself a little bit of time to catch Rens Brinkman, and that's going to be tough.
Well, we're seeing this in all three classes. The top two drivers, and as I say that, our race leader, Paulo Gallon, comes into the pits. I was about to say our top two DPs had stayed out, but now they're both coming in this lap. As Justin just mentioned, and Javi Utrera, Sean, comes in from GT3, but all our GTE leaders are still out on track. Now, I'm going to be keeping an eye on Luis Gallon. I want to see where he comes out with relation to Blake Neck and Carlo Labate. Gallon is rolling. I think he's going to have a nice gap over them.
Yeah, Gallon comes out 6.1 seconds ahead of Sam Fitzpatrick and another 4.6 behind Fitzpatrick is next. So, good run out of the pits, and he's got still a good gap with just about the whole field now coming in for that class.
And Travis is out back on the track there, Sean.
Yeah, and for as much drama as I tried to create there, it still winds up with Rens Brinkman being almost 8 seconds ahead of Javi Utrera after he comes out of his pit. Had a great stop. In fact, had the fastest stop in the GT3s, but it wasn't enough. Rens Brinkman, it continues to run away with this race just a bit. He has got great pace right now. Not a lot of traffic around him. I'll have some traffic coming through, but he has proven pretty good at dealing with the faster cars. And again, not many issues. Blake Neck coming around him now, and he catches him in a great spot. Just a little bit more of an advantage for Rens Brinkman right there. It's going to make it very, very tough for Javi Utrera to catch up to him. But Javi having a great race of his own. Nothing, no shame in his game tonight, Sam.
I'm sorry for stealing Sam's cue there, but 2 pit stops underway. Biddle coming out along with Brault, both of them pitting now. So we still have in the GTE 7 cars that still need to come in. That includes Patrick Holtzman, of course. So different pitting strategies playing out, as well as, not just strategy, having to worry about your gas take in general. If you're Patrick Holtzman, you're worrying a little bit. You have Marino Reyes coming up 4.5 seconds behind. 9 seconds, pardon me.
Meanwhile, in the DP class, the drivers came worst out of the cycle. We knew Gallon would be leading. Sam Fitzpatrick's been up by second all race as Marino Reyes in GT3 now comes into the pits. But going back to DP, Blake next had a good race. Carlo Labate, lots of GT3 cars coming in. But the real driver who's came off worse in DP today, it looks like it's Michael Avdoka. He's dropped to 5th. Lots of GT3 cars in. Justin, take us through it.
Yes, lots
GT.
of them, as you mentioned that as Dean Mole went off the track once again for a second. All of them trying to get fuel as they are just about running empty. I expect the rest of the field to come in quickly. That is about 5 of the 7 who had not came in yet. Pardon me, I think it was 4 out of the 7. as they all come out rolling. Clark Archer, the last of that grouping to come out of the pits, as Sutton got a great stop and a great jump out of that pit lane.
Once these pit stops are over, we'll cycle through the top 5 of each class from you. Patrick Holtzman still yet to, and as I say that, he comes in, and I have a feeling he should come out with the lead, Justin.
Yeah, with the gap he's created, I wouldn't be surprised if he does, because you can see he is currently still in front of Gabriel Ruse, for example, though on the field, and that's still about, now he's passed by Ruse, but he is one of the last people to come in, and currently the only other car who has not came in is Jose Ramon Baroa right now from Iberia, as he has been way off the pace for much of it. He is now coming in, but 10.3 from Holtzman.
Yeah, he's being held up there by Mirko Dwartanek was in front of him, Justin, and that's because Mirko just rolled over a few turns ago. I'd say about 40 seconds ago. The driver of his number 27 Mercedes pulled a bit of a Dale Earnhardt, rolling over the car and then driving it back into the pits.
Yeah, it's just a tough night for Marco. A little fortunate there. That thing lands on its feet. He sticks the landing. I'll give him about a 9 point. Well, maybe not quite. Oh, boy. I just heard the Russian judge gave a 7.3 on that.
And now trouble for his teammate, CM Skinner. Although he's back up to speed, I have a feeling maybe Skinner just ran off.
Man, interesting.
And I'm assuming he's his teammate.
GT3 lead. Okay, Rens Brakeman right now has got just in front of him James Evan, who's trying to keep his head above water right now from losing this lap, but just behind him, Brian Sutton charging hard there in the GTE Ferrari, and boy, it's not making it easy there. James Evans fighting hard.
Alright, well, we've had all of our pit stops now, so let's give you a rundown. In the DP class, up front and controlling the field pretty much all race long is Luis Paulo Gallen. He is in front of Sam Fitzpatrick, who had to battle a few cars, but he's came out on top and is running in second. The battle for third in DP continues. Blake Neck right ahead of Carlo Labate. Labate was running as high as second early on, but he's dropped back to fourth there. Michael Evdoka, we saw him battling for second, third, fourth. He has came out of a pit cycle in fifth place, Justin.
In your GTEs right now, it is currently Patrick Holtzman running the table for the grouping. He lost a little bit of time though out on the pit exit as Tim Birdie is closing it up. Elliott Biddle currently in third spot for those GTEs, followed by Marino Reyes and Brian Sutton. Sean?
Yes, sir. Rens Brakeman still in command, has been since we got this race started, basically. Yavi Contreras, though, putting up a good fight, closed it down to about 6.5 seconds. He sits back there in second. Just had a wonderful race. And Nestoras Kiosoglo, he was charging. He was really reeling in Yavi, but I don't know that he's worked as well with the traffic as Yavi has, and it's really slowed him down just a bit here. He's got some work to do there from third, almost 2 seconds back from Yavi. Then we go back to CM Skinner, who, quite frankly, has just had a really nice drive tonight. He stayed out of trouble for the most part, and that has allowed him to stay there in fourth. James Evans, he has just continued to fight. He is still out here. He's in fifth. It's Mirko Dwartanek, though, unfortunately, had that rollover that took him back to the pits, and he is not back out.
And one thing I want to mention, there was a name that some people may have noticed is not around that top 5 for the GTEs. That is Jonathan Brolt. He went off the track a few moments ago. Let's check out the GSRC replay for that situation. He is all the way back in about 10th of his grouping. You can see coming out of that final turn, the incident is in turn 1. As you can tell, cars of course kick up the dirt. Well, not so much in turn 1 usually, as he ended up losing control of the back end of his car, sliding, and just luckily saving and having to back up through the dirt and through the gravel and grass to get back rolling. Lost a bunch of spots from that, now all the way back behind Tyson Meyer.
Almost makes me wonder if with the open setups he's had a low rear wing, because let's not forget he was holding drivers up in the turns earlier, but down the straights he was able to run them back down, and now we're seeing in one turn where he just completely lost the rear end. Meanwhile, I'm keeping an eye on the battle for third in DP. It hasn't become a battle yet, just two cars running nose to tail. Blake Neck over Carlo Labate, but Sean, with only 6.5 minutes left in this race, any battle that we see brewing is getting ready to boil.
Yes, sir. And you know, Blake, listen, we've seen Blake plenty before in the past year on the Global Sim Racing channel. He's not working with the best piece of equipment right now, but he has still got the pace, Sam, still managing to rip off 111s. And that is going to make it very, very tough for Carlo Labate. You know, Labate, another driver that we've seen plenty of, but boy, it just hasn't seemed to be in his night. He's going to need to do something special here with just under 6 minutes to go, I think, to pull off a successful pass on Blake Neck.
Let's emphasize the point that even though there's 6 minutes to go, I'd still say there's about 5 circuits left of this in. This being a very small track here at Mosport, so every single challenge that the circuit poses, Justin, the drivers are going to have to hit it about 5 more times.
Yes, like we've said, it's about the patience, and it is really, when you think about it too, a rhythm road course with how it is with these tight turns and the S's and the chicanes and whatnot. So that being said, it's also the time where if you have a chance to move up a spot, I do it right now. Try and start pushing the tires a little bit if you've saved them enough, and try and get some positions. Not to the point where you drive off the course and into a tire barrier, but I mean, like, try and back up your exits a little bit. Try and get some more speed. Your entrances, pardon me, get more speed on your exits, and try and gain some spots, because this is when you start reaching the money shots.
And Labate is looking all over the back of Neck right now, because Neck made a bit of a mistake exiting the final turn. However, that battle dies down a little bit, so we'll go to a GT3 battle, Sean.
Yeah, and you know, Yavi Atreras, I said he was having such a great drive. I'll tell you what, this last round of traffic, though, that came through, the GTEs that just got by him, and now he's got Corvette behind him, Corey McLemore making his way through. This has really allowed Nestoras Kiosoglo to really reel him in, and I got to tell you, with just what I think is going to be about 5 laps to go here, I think this is going to be a little bit closer than I thought it might have been, because Nestoras is looking pretty pesky right now, and boy, if we get much more traffic come through, which there is some traffic behind him on the way, this could get even sketchier.
Entering the closing minutes of a race, you see the time there in the top left corner of your screen. Less than 4 minutes left to go. Just 3 or 4 more circuits around, and some battles, including this one, the battle for third in the DP class, still left to settle. And boy, I think Neck and Labate overdrove the entry of the turn there, but Neck is really squirreling around. I have a feeling his tyres might be a bit shot. He's just got to keep Labate behind him, and I'm not saying it's easy, but it's made easy, I think, due to the fact that it's such a difficult track to make a pass on here.
Yeah, it really is, Sam. You're right about that. This is definitely a challenge. Got to really take advantage of the long straightaway out of Moss Corner and really try and make your moves there and settle them. Now Renz Brakeman, our leader in the GT3 class, having to let some more traffic through in the closing laps here. He's going to have to deal with several GTE cars behind him and a couple of Daytona prototypes making their way that will probably catch him before this race is over.
Our overall leader, Luis Paulo Gallen, just crossed the line. By my math, there's about 3 laps left to go of this race. Meanwhile, Gabriel Roos, our points leader, is off in turn 2. That never ends well. Pancakes the wall, and that just that puts a stamp on the day for him.
Wow. Yeah, he misses it there big time, Sam. And when you miss it and you start heading off, it's really, really hard to reel it back in. The brakes don't help. Downshifting as quickly as you can might help some, but he was going at a pretty good clip there.
Justin, looks like we just had a pass in GT3 inside the top 10. Benjamin Perez moves by Miguel Vigo.
Yes, you mentioned that there as Benjamin Perez, as you said, getting by Vigo there. He has been running a pretty good race overall, Perez. So that is moving forward. Meanwhile, you go through the field. Right now, Holtzman still holding on, but Birdie losing ground, especially because Biddle's closing in on that second spot. So a lot of different battles, a lot of different strategies as we reach the 1 minute and 20 second mark on the clock.
Yeah, next time around, the Luis Paulo Gallen will get the white flag, and then our GT3 class will actually finish ahead of our GTE class because Javi Utreves just went a lap down to our overall leader, Gallen.
Yeah, and our GT3 leader, Rens Brinkman, under siege again from other classes. It's the Corvette prototype there of Corey McLemore getting by him once again. And now he's got a couple of GTEs here down just behind that.
And we had some trouble there, as you're seeing on your screen. Miguel Vigo had lost control heading into White's corner and slammed hard into the wall. You can see he was going too wide through the corner, battling with Perez for position, going through those corners and lost it on the outside. Saved it, then lost it again, smacking the wall. He is still going, but some damage right at the end. That is not a spot I don't think you want to be too wide in.
3 cars within 2 seconds behind him. It's about to get really interesting for that spot.
And like I said, you don't want to be too wide there, and it looks like Perez did actually clip him there, and Vigo has pulled to the side into the grass and will tow it.
Yeah, meanwhile, you see the white flag is in the air for our race leader. Very unfortunate for Vigo that he hit trouble so close to the end of the race. Lots of cars off. Blake Neck is off. Mike Burdett is off. Remember, so Neck loses 3rd place to Carlo Labate in the class, and he's not too happy with someone out there. And lots of drama in just the closing seconds of a race here. A race that had been clean on such a twisty and challenging track for 44 minutes. But Luis Paulo Gallen was out in front of all of the incidents, although the front end of the number 9 machine isn't as pretty as it was when the green flag dropped. But now the checkered will drop and Gallen crosses the line for the victory. GT3, Sean.
Yeah, and here comes Rens Brinkman, going to solidify that win. Wow, what a run by Brinkman. He was in charge the whole race.
Yes, and right now, meanwhile, those pardon me there, you were saying, Sean?
Javi Utreves and Historis Kiosoglu get 2nd and 3rd. Go ahead, Justin.
I'm sorry about that there. Patrick Holtzman, meanwhile, coming out of the straightaway, Andre straightaway, into the corners, trying to secure a victory. Birdie, meanwhile, losing position to Biddle, as that is a battle for 2nd at the end, but Patrick Holtzman holds them off and will come to the checkered flag and win the GTEs. Elliott Biddle 2nd, Tim Birdie loses the position to get 3rd.
Alright, well, lots happened in the closing moments of this race, so let's go back and have a look at exactly what took place here. Okay, so this is Clark Archer going through what I believe that is, and gets on the loud pedal a little bit too quickly, noses it into the inside wall. And now we'll get to the replay of Blake Neck. Now, Neck was not too happy. Remember, he had been holding on to Carlo Labate for 3rd and 4th positions. So, what happens here? Does Labate get into the back of him? Does the lap traffic of the Ferrari in front interfere? It looks like Labate gets a run, and yes, he does get into the back of him. Costs Neck the position and didn't give it back, as you see. At the same time, lapped car was off, so Labate crossed the line in 3rd as we get an onboard replay here, and Neck had to settle for 4th. Well, so lots of drama late on in the go-in here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Such a brilliant race here by the HPP Simulation guys, the organisers that put on this event, and we'll get to talk to some of the top finishers and give you a full race rundown in just a few moments here on GSRC. Stick around. Hello and welcome back to Mosport as you get a Twitter's eye view above the circuit here. Let's give you a full race rundown after 45 minutes of racing, beginning of course with our DP class and our overall winner, Luis Paulo Gallen, who crossed the line almost 9 seconds ahead of Sam Fitzpatrick. Carlo Labonte got third place with a bit of a controversial bump and run on the last lap to move by Blake Neck, who drops to 4th. Michael Avdoka had a bit of floor damage, reportedly, that's what dropped him to 5th. During the round of stops, Corey McClemore was 6th in class, and then of course we saw Gabriel Roos, our championship leader, hit the wall in the closing stages. He's much further down in the order, 7th in the DP class. Justin.
It's Corey McLemore, actually, for pronunciation for 6. I apologize for having to correct you there, but with the GTEs, Patrick Holtzman with the Pro World Championship license comes away with the victory. Elliott Biddle comes second. Tim Birdie had some fuel issues in the final stages that led to that pass, so he finishes third. Marino Reyes, he had a fast car, but it also turns out he also took tires during that pit stop that cost him a little bit of time. Brian Sutton, last week's winner, comes away with the fifth position, while Benjamin Perez and Jonathan Brault come 6th and 7th. Tyson Mayer had a little bit of situation troubles at times, but came away with a good spot, while James Owenbriner and Jose Ramon Baroa finished well as well. Clark Archer had an incident on the final stages and damaged his car at the end. Mike Burdett had been involved in a couple incidents. He is fourth to last in the GTEs. Miguel Vigo put his car into tow after what we saw, smashing into that wall and pulling into the towing about halfway after on the next lap after. Dean Mull finishes off along with Mitchell Tater finishing 30 laps down. Sean, with your GT3s.
Yes, sir. The GT3s. Big night for them. Renz Breckman. He is going to be your big winner tonight. Renz with a really, really hot drive. Yavi Utrera is going to finish second in class tonight. Historias Kiosaglo had a really, really good fight tonight. A lot of spunk from that driver, but just not enough in the end to catch Yavi. CM Skinner, the New York driver, finishes fourth. Good drive by him. He pretty much stayed out of trouble. And then there's James Evans. Good time out on track for him this evening. He does finish this race in fifth. Does a really good job at just staying out of trouble, keeping the car in the gray. Mirko Dotonic, though, unfortunately, that sixth place finish, it ended up with him on his lid, back on his wheels, and then into the pit with a tow. And not able to complete this race. He falls about 11 laps short. But he was pretty good while he was out there, aside from a couple of incidents. But boy, what a fun race this was this evening. Love doing these on a Friday night.
Absolutely, Sean. I don't think either of us are going to argue with you there. Well, we got a few people here to talk to following the race, including, first off, our second place finisher in the DP class. And Sam, you had quite an interesting race out there with some nice battles on the track.
Yeah, the battle with Michael, the first half of the race was, a lot of fun. Like that move, like the third to last corner, and then I made an error, so that was very entertaining. But yeah, in the second half of the race, I kind of just all calmed down. But yeah, really fun race to drive.
And this is actually good for you in the points, with Gabriel Roos having a bad race. David Weiss and Blake Haswell, the only other two drivers in the points ahead of you, weren't here tonight. So this is going to move you up. Perhaps, I think, actually, you're the new points leader.
Yeah, I'm certainly close, I think, which is, of course, nice news. But still early on in the championship, and of course, Louis did really well today, so he got quite a few points, and Carlo Labarti's also there as well, so still very early on in the championship.
After qualifying fourth and having to battle through the field during the first half of a race, did you expect you'd be walking away with a silver today?
Not really. I think I just had more fuel than everyone else, so at least the people that I was racing. So pretty much got them on the pit stop, but it certainly wasn't easy. I was pretty much pushing every single lap, just in case Louis Infant made an error. So it certainly wasn't easy, but yeah, it was quite nice to get the second place.
Now next week we go to the Nurburgring. How do you fancy your chances at that circuit?
I actually really like the circuit. I'm not a massive fan of this one. I like it, it's fun, but I don't usually drive particularly well around here. But Nurburgring is certainly a better circuit for me, so hopefully can get the win there.
Alright, well thanks for coming to talk to us, Sam. We look forward to seeing you back in action next week.
Cheers.
Well, I lied a bit here, guys. So it looks like we had a lot of drivers lined up for interview, but then they all saw the party across the street, and I guess they've gone to celebrate there. So I'll ask you for your final thoughts on this race. Justin, how did you like this race in your home country?
Well, it was an entertaining race, that's for sure. Lots of action, and it was a good race overall. We did have a few incidents, yes, but I think it was good, consistent racing, and a good flow for a lot of the drivers, especially in that GTE class. Patrick Holtzman with Core Motorsports just pulling away in that class. And you have Renz Brockman last year won the 2016 Sprint Series for the GTs. So we had some competitive drivers in this race tonight. And we also had some underdogs, move from that field, like Marino Reyes. Reyes, I think, might have been a major challenge based on how he was running pace-wise for Holtzman in near the end of that race, for example. Like you also mentioned with a few of the others, like one different turn, and we might be talking about a different story for guys like Gowan, who was, of course, dealing with traffic a lot, and Fitzpatrick, I think, was starting to claw his way back, but a good race overall. Sean, what are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Good time tonight. Sam, I enjoyed the battles in the GT3 class and the DP prototypes, but this track presents a great many challenges. I think, I was surprised we didn't see as much trouble in Moss as I thought we would. That can be a bit of a parking lot down there sometimes, but I think it speaks more to the level of drivers we had in this session. Top split, there was a lot at stake, and I think we saw, as a good friend of ours likes to say, Sam, I think we saw the cream rise to the top here at Mosport today, and always look forward to getting back here. But now we got to think about getting that trip all the way across the Atlantic for the Nurburgring next week and that Grand Prix circuit.
Yeah, I've got to confess, when it comes to Mosport as an iRacing driver, it's not my favourite track. Usually I think it's kind of a twisty circuit. You don't get to make a lot of passes on it, and there's usually quite a bit of chaos. These drivers, however, definitely proved me wrong tonight. We saw a great clean race out there, along with several side-by-side battles throughout the duration of the 45 minutes of this event, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they produce when they head to the Nurburgring in Germany next week. We would like to thank the HPP Simulation series, as well as Mark Hargett for putting on this championship, as well as the IMSA community for coming here tonight and putting on an exciting race. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts. There you see them listed on your screen. Additional thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who provide us with our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get hold of more of our great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Justin, Amjad and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel or Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel. Our next race is at the Nurburgring GP course, which will be at 8:45 PM Eastern Time next Friday here on the GSRC. We also have upcoming races for our other series listed on the screen, so be sure to check those out. Mark them down on your calendar and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.